Good afternoon, everybody. I am so pleased that so many of you are able to join us for the installation of the Board of Directors of the National Council of Jewish Women of Greater Long Beach and West Orange County. I am Barbara Shipnuck. I'm the president of our wonderful organization. What an amazing year it was. We have all been through so much. And as we look back on the close of 3/4 of a century since our founding, and prepare for the next 25 years, we must marvel at what we've accomplished. We've not only survived, we have thrived. We pivoted to a virtual reality Zoom environment better understood by our kids and grandkids through the experts' guidance of our self-volunteered tech committee, Dale Strock, Cynthia Gordon, and Deb Lelchek. They seamlessly added this to their defined roles with the assistance of our media consultant, Sue Rivecci. But more about that at the end of my remarks. Some highlights of our year on Zoom. Advocacy sponsored a nationally recognized conversation between Eric Ward and Rabbi Peter Levy on racism and its roots in anti-Semitism. This drew viewers from across the country. We also held a moving tribute to honor the legacy of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We held a celebration of a fabulous family, the Mannheims, who shared stories of their 3 generations of fighting for issues that resound with our NCJW values. And we presented Sylvia Mannheim with the Hannah G. Solomon Award. Sharon Brannon engaged Jill Winebanks as our book review speaker all the way from Florida, and she was a great hit with our members and others in the community. We also had some fun on Zoom, playing bingo and spending a Saturday evening with Johnny the Magician. Advocacy sponsored over a half dozen programs on Zoom. They partnered with the League of Women Voters to discuss the ballot propositions in what seems like a long ago election. And they unveiled the homeless issues in our area. This latter through the efforts of Natalie Swit, who brought us into closer contact with the professionals who deal with this issue. Through the efforts of Deb Shankin, we expanded our reach to get out the vote. While we could not register on college campuses, we could write letters, postcards, and make phone calls. Over 50 members responded to Deb's call to action and wrote letters to encourage underrepresented voters in Georgia to go to the polls. And she also organized a phone tree to call each of our members to mobilize us to vote. We owe Deb a very big thank you for her efforts these past 4 years. We have expanded our footprint in the community through joining coalitions devoted to immigration and social justice, joining both the Orange County Jewish Coalition for Refugees and CLUE, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. Thank you, Deb Lelchek and Lisa Rothman, for taking on these new assignments. In addition, over a dozen of our local rabbis and other clergy have joined the national effort of Rabbis for Repro. This is aimed at bringing understanding of the Jewish values around reproductive rights and women's rights to choose to the forefront of our discussion in that area. Our ties to the state advocacy efforts have also expanded with monthly meetings with the state policy advocates and joint planning. Our section was able to add a priority piece of legislation to the bills NCJW will focus on at the state level. This important effort is trying to keep the University of California system from contracting for residencies with hospitals that do not allow the full range of reproductive health services. Our hardworking advocacy vice presidents put the finishing touches to our participation in the state lobbying day, and we were very proud and pleased with the number of you all who worked in that effort. Community service could have really suffered in this virtual world, but it didn't, thanks to the efforts of Deb Kaplan-Wyckoff Linda Fox, and Bobby Horowitz. We were able to continue our good work in the community. We accomplished one hug packing before the pandemic really shut down and finished the year strong with a triple packing. We collected food for a college food drive and funded lunch for shut-in seniors. We gave $1,000 in supermarket gift cards to For the Child, and most recently provided clothes, household gifts, and gift cards to assist 3 refugee families, thanks to the hard work of Naomi Steinfeld. Bobby and Corinne Hickey also led the effort to sew blankets for the homeless in the comfort of your own home. Over 70 blankets were created and donated to the efforts at St. Luke's Church. Apologies. Our program vice presidents, Sharon Brannon and Lisa Raufman, tried several new approaches to engage members. The movie evening they began will continue in an even more lively format. So please join us on the 4th Thursday evening each month if you can. Zoom proved a usable tool for them as well. Resource development, led by Janice Simon and Deb Lewis, ran an outstanding and lucrative CHI campaign, which exceeded its budget projection thanks both to their efforts and the generosity of you, our members. Michelle Stryker and Natalie Swift, membership VPs, developed a telephone tree to check on members and outreach to our new members. Yes, we gained 15 new members in this strangest of years. All of the things I mentioned you would be familiar with if you read Pillars. Thank you, Ann Millman. Or follow the weekly advocacy wrap-up. Thank you, Deb Lochek. And our e-blast. Again, thank you, Dale Strock. But to be a successful organization, we have to pay attention to the less public aspect of how we do business. And this year saw the board hard at work on the less glamorous side of the ledger. Sherry Sobel agreed to chair a bylaws committee that spent many hours revising our bylaws and adding new provisions recommended by National. These were approved by the board and then by the membership. I want to recognize Linda Fox, Karen Freed, and Natalie Swift for assisting her. This indomitable team then went on to revise our policies and procedures. I am so very pleased that Sherry has agreed to stay on in her position and will be again joining us on the board. Our investment committee, chaired by Judy Leff, reviewed and updated our investment policy and recommended the board move our portfolio into a socially conscious set of investments. This easily passed. Judy will be stepping off as chair, and Joanne Levy will assume that role as one of her co-treasurer duties. Dawn Haldane, who we could not function without, keeps all our finances straight. She has recommended a formal finance committee structure starting July 1, and Dawn will be chairing that committee. Please let me know if you are interested in joining either of the committees I have mentioned. While it may not seem like glamorous work, it is essential, and we would love to have any of you who are interested in financial matters or want to learn more, please get involved. In closing, I would like to thank Barbara Millman for continuing her duties as our corresponding secretary and keeping our tribute records, and Maria Osorio, our recording secretary. They are somewhat unsung heroes. I also want to extend my personal gratitude to Deborah Kaplan-Wyckoff, Janice Simon, and Deb Lewis, who will be retiring from the board. And I want to welcome Bobby Horowitz, Tila Carroll, and Andrea Friedenthal. I thank all of you and look forward to an even more ambitious and rewarding year ahead. The board will be meeting in a few weeks to plan for next year, and we welcome your input. If you have any projects or events you want us to consider, or recommendations for how we communicate with you, please email me and I will see that they are considered. And finally, I look forward to seeing you in person down the road. Now, without further ado, a moment we have been awaiting, a signature achievement of our tech committee, our new website. And here to unveil it for you is Dale Strock.
I am thrilled to be able to show you our new website. I can't tell you how many hours we've spent, hundreds, many hundreds, doing this. Thank you. I couldn't have pulled this off without Cynthia and Deb, that's for sure. And we couldn't have pulled it off without Sue. So without further ado, as it is said, this is what our new website looks like. It was launched live today, and I understand that it takes Wix 24 hours to make sure everything is live and up. So I encourage all of you to play with it starting tomorrow. This is just a welcome page. We have a who we are page. I need to admit someone. I'll let Cynthia handle that from now on. Here is our current board. We are thrilled to have such great pictures to show everyone. And please, click around, look around. We think this is a vast improvement. Here's our events page. Things are highlighted. Community service and advocacy have a different kind of layout because we have so much going on. We have boxes for all of our special projects, and they have all kinds of information. Advocacy has all these, plus resources at the bottom. And each of the subpages have more information and links to our partners at the bottom. We have a volunteer page that will have an active volunteer opportunities form at the bottom that you can fill out online. No more printing it and filling it out and mailing it in. And news page right now just has archives of our pillars, e-blasts, and wrap-ups. And of course, we have our tribute page that we're happy to offer with a fun introductory image. And donate page, similarly, we'll have a better image soon. And we have an act page and a contact page. And of course, join. And these links will all be live with easy ways to sign up. And links at the bottom if you need to. So pretty much that's the basic links, but there's links all the way through. And we encourage you to play with it, try the links, let us know what problems you find, and give us your feedback by June 3rd, which is our next board meeting, or sooner. And then we can discuss anything that needs to be discussed there. And then we'll finalize with Sue and launch it to all the members. So that is all there is. Plenty to, and we have to really, really encourage you to use it. Please use it. Please make all that time we spent worth it. And if you have ideas on how to promote it, let us know. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dale and Cynthia and Deb. It really was a labor of love, where you wouldn't have spent as much time as you did on it, and we're all the beneficiaries for your great efforts. I'm sure we will use it. Thank you.
And next, we're going to the installation.
Let me bring up.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay, so I'm going to introduce Barbara Showick, who I am honored to have gotten to know through my association with NCJW. She is a former recipient of the Hannah B. Solomon Award and has been with us since the 80s. Her continued involvement with our section is to our benefit. And now she will do the deinstallation of the 2021 board and install the 21-22 board. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so much. When I was a little girl growing up in Pittsburgh, my grandmother was very involved in a shop called the Industrial League. The Pittsburgh branch of the National Council of Jewish Women had set it up after or possibly during the Second World War. My grandmother and another woman would go to New York once or twice a year and select fabulous fabrics, ribbons, beautiful lace, zippers, buttons, threads, and whatever else was needed to create gorgeous baby clothes, fabulous bed jackets, amazing lingerie, handkerchief cases, bathrobes, gifts, and so on. The shop was located very close to a streetcar stop in Oakland, and the refugee Jewish women fleeing Nazi Europe came to the shop every week or two to pick up supplies. Then they would return with these fine finished products to be sold by council volunteers in the shop. I loved being able to help, quote, help. And when we were engaged, Leon's aunt held a handkerchief shower for me. I received beautiful hankies. The aunts gave me a gorgeous handkerchief case, which came from the shop and which I still have to this day. And my wonderful practical mother gave me a box of beautifully wrapped Kleenex. So I have a long tradition of being aware of the fine, relevant work that council performs. The Greater Long Beach and West Orange County chapter of council is no exception, with its focus on advocating for reproductive health, rights, and justice for all, safeguarding voting rights, ensuring a fair and independent judiciary, advancing gender equality in Israel, advancing progressive immigration policies, promoting the fight against human trafficking, and promoting economic and social justice initiatives. Like council in Pittsburgh those many decades ago, our chapter is headed by a group of enthusiastic and dedicated volunteers. It is now my honor to thank those who have served. 3 board members who are ending their service are Deb Kaplan-Wyckoff, 2020 to 2021 Community Service, and Deb Lewis and Janice Simon, co-VPs Resource Development. We thank you for your service. Next, I want to thank all those who served on the pandemically challenged 2020-2021 board. Thank it, which Barbara just explained in great, wonderful, amazing detail. Thank you for your creativity as you carried on promoting council initiatives and programs. You are all now relieved of your responsibilities. It is now my great pleasure to introduce you to the returning and newly elected slate of officers for the NCJW 2021-2022 board. I know sometimes we say, next year in Jerusalem. This year we say, next year, not on Zoom. So when your name is called, would you unmute yourself and say hello and maybe wave so everyone can see who you are when I call your name? President Barbara Shipnuck.
Hi, everybody.
Good. VP Communications. Oh, I forgot. Immediate past president, Linda C. Fox.
Hi, everybody.
VP Communications, Ann Millman and Dale Strock.
Hi there.
Hi.
VP Resource Development, Tina Carroll and Bobby Horowitz, both newly elected to the board.
Hi.
Can everybody see both of them?
See Bob?
VP Advocacy, Cynthia Gordon and Deb Lolchuk.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, it's not
VP
working.
Programs, Sharon Brannon and Lisa Rothman.
Hi.
Hello.
You're all doing a wonderful job. VP Membership, Michelle Stryker and Natalie Swift.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. VP Community Service, Andrea Friedenthal, newly elected to the board. Is Andrea there? I can't see her.
Yeah.
Treasurer Dawn Haldane and Joanne Levy.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, good. Financial Secretary Judith Leff.
Hi, everyone.
Recording Secretary Mario Osorio.
Maria's on.
I'm sorry, Maria.
Yeah, it's Maria, but I'm here, but I'm not going to show my face. No makeup. Sorry.
I didn't say your name correctly. Please accept my apology. And Corresponding Secretary Barbara Millman.
Hello, everybody.
Each of you comes to this position with expertise and experience in many areas, which will serve all of us very well. By accepting this position, you have shown your belief in the mission of the National Council of Jewish Women and your faith in the future. You have accepted the responsibility of giving or raising funds needing to support section activities and meeting obligations to the national organization. Your duties will entail overseeing and approving our section's operating budget and periodically evaluating the work of all the committees and community services. In addition, you will formulate and support our section's objectives, policies, and programs. I feel confident that you will have the ongoing support and encouragement of every member of the section. We are all committed to maintaining fiscal stability and the high level of service to the community and progressive advocacy work for which our section is very well known. I charge you now with these responsibilities and wish you success and satisfaction in your endeavors. I declare you duly installed as members of the National Council of Jewish Women, Long Beach and West Orange County Board of Directors. Mazel tov to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now it is my privilege to install the president. Council was originally founded in 1893 by Hannah G. Solomon to seek justice, to relieve the oppressed, by enabling women, those refugees fleeing from Hitler in Pittsburgh, to improve their lives. And since its beginning in 1947, members of the National Council of Jewish Women, Greater Long Beach and West Orange County section have dedicated themselves to improving the lives of women and children in other vulnerable communities. You are a link in this chain of legacy. Please accept our thanks for your dedication to this proud legacy. Barbara Shipnuck has been asked to continue as our president for the coming year. She has led our section through the pandemically challenged year of meeting on Zoom, planning with her board, developing creative and interesting programs for every council member to enjoy. We hope the coming year will be more normal, but we know that with your outstanding background, and I know of your world travels and you were a county supervisor, I mean, you have an amazing background and incredible leadership skills, we will have a section exceeding its highest expectations. Plus, you have an experienced and enthusiastic board to fulfill your mission. It is my pleasure to install and reintroduce Barbara Shipnuck, our president. Mazel tov to you, Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara. And thank you all. I look forward to working with all of you in the year to come. Thank you. And now I think we turn it over to
Me.
Sharon or Lisa to introduce our guest.
Okay, I'll take over now. And ladies, if you want to switch to full screen, speaker screen, it might give you a better view of the cooking demonstration. And I always look for a silver lining, and having to be on Zoom in a way is a silver lining, because we could not have this presentation without it. So let me tell you a little bit about our presenter that I'm thrilled to have with us. Sarah Livingston is a food historian whose education specialized in Jewish food. Her relationship to Canada, Jewish history, is generations long. Her great-great-grandmother was a former national president of National Council of Jewish Women, and her family is a pioneering family of Western Canada, founding the city of Winnipeg. Sarah received her master's from the University of Toronto and has been the director of Ohio Hillel for over 2 years. Prior to Hillel, Sarah was the director of a Hebrew immersion after-school program in downtown Toronto. She specializes in multi-ethnic and complicated cuisine of Israel and the intersection of Jewish identity and food. Sarah is a member of Women of Reformed Judaism and a past member of Hadassah in Toronto. She is deeply involved in Jewish education and committed to the development of the Jewish community. So Sarah, I want to hand this over to you, and I'm just so thrilled that you're with us.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And I'm so grateful to be here with all of you amazing women. A big thank you to Deb Lelchuk, who found me because I presented a cooking demo during Pesach for the Women of Reformed Judaism nationally. This is a much more manageable call. I feel like the 200 women on the call back in April was a little much. So I'm really glad that we're all here together, and I'm glad that Deb found me. This is my path. You absolutely could have had me at your installation. It just would have cost you a fortune because you would have had to fly me to California. This is much more affordable. So one of my absolutely amazing students, Erica, is going to be assisting me today. She's also my bonus kid and nannies my kids and is like my child. So she is the best. So she's going to assist me. We have something called a recipe cam. Dale, can you pin the recipe cam for when we turn it on? There you go. Can we pin me and the recipe cam at the same time? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, I'm not seeing the pins, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So what we're gonna make today, we're gonna start with a cocktail. If you're cooking along with me, we'll go through every step. If you're not cooking along with me, that's totally okay. And you guys will have the recipes and my contact information in case you have questions as you go to make these things. But the first thing we're gonna make is a cocktail. Many of you have probably been to Israel. One of the things in Israel that is like, I don't know, quintessentially Israeli is a drink called limonana. And what we have in Israel is this amazing, often blended with ice, and it's just like lemonade and ice blended with mint. And it's just this like bright, sweet, tart, delicious drink. And it is like the definition of summer in Israel is to drink a limonana on Frishman Beach and like watch other people go by. So I love this cocktail. And basically what we've done is we've taken a limonana from Israel and we've turned it into an amazing cocktail with some other influences. So the first thing, I juice lemons at home, and for this, I bought lemon juice. This is just Santa Cruz organic lemon juice. You can get it at any Ralph's. It should be there. I bought lemon stoli because I think that the more lemon, the better. You can use plain vodka and get a delicious cocktail as well. And then the other thing, and this is my husband's doing. So my husband's from Italy, and what we've added to make this cocktail better. There you go. Thank you. Recipe cam for the win. And we are looking at Fabrizio Limoncello. Any limoncello from Italy is going to do the trick. You just want that really tart, a little bit sweet lemon liqueur. So I have already made this. If you're cooking along with me in your kitchen and you need to still make your mint simple syrup, that's totally okay. Hey, yay! There I am. So if you need to make your mint simple syrup, I use a kettle. This is like so Israeli of me. So I use the electric kettle and I just put a cup of sugar in the measuring cup, a cup of hot water, stir it together until the sugar dissolves, and then I add like 2 fistfuls of chopped mint. The mint is from my garden, which makes me very proud of my garden. So the mint and simple syrup are just have sort of been marinating here for a little bit. If you're gonna make this at home over the summer, it's always better to let this cool completely because then it won't melt your ice. And then when you let it cool with the mint in there, you get this really like bold, sweet mint flavor with the simple syrup, and it just makes everything better. It's amazing. So go ahead, if you are cooking along with me, go ahead and make your mint simple syrup. I am going to start on the cocktail. So the first thing we want to do is get your cocktail shaker, and we're going to just fill it up with ice.
Sarah, excuse me. I don't think I've got the pin showing at the same time with you. It won't let me put up both at the same time.
Okay.
If I pin that, then you stop being spotlighted.
I think like it was there and they clicked this way.
I can pin it, but then the spotlight goes away.
Well, then can you pin both of us at the same time? So it's 2 pins, then try that. Let's try that.
Okay. Hold on.
Sorry, it was solid. Definitely.
Find the screen.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going and hopefully, oh, hi Sharon, you're on my speaker now. I wonder why that is. Okay, let's try this. I want my view to be the gallery view. That way I'm not just looking at random. I can see everybody. Okay, so cocktail shaker full of ice. All right, we're gonna add 1.5 ounces of vodka. Now, a good cocktail shaker will have your measurements on the side. If it's like 100 milliliters, I don't know what that is, and it's like a shot and a half. All right, and then you add the limoncello. Funny story about the limoncello. My husband is Italian, and he was in Italy with his whole family visiting his extended family. And he was about, I don't know, 15 or 16 years old. And his older brother stole a bottle of limoncello from their aunt's like liquor cabinet, which like in Italy isn't like alcohol isn't like a big deal because kids drink wine at young ages and whatever. But because they were good Canadian kids, they were so excited and they drank way too much limoncello and they got so sick. And now my almost 45-year-old husband still can't drink limoncello to this day. I love the way it smells. He hates it. I feel so bad for him. Not really, but he kind of deserved it. All right, so then we're gonna add 1 ounce of the limoncello. And that is amazing. Whoa, Nelly. And then we want to add the juice. It's like 2 to 3 ounces of fresh lemon juice. If you're using fresh lemons, you'll want to squeeze out the juice of 1 full lemon, maybe a lemon and a half. And if you guys have questions as I'm going, put them in the chat and we'll monitor that and I'll answer them as we go. So I'm going to add 2 or 3 ounces here of lemon juice. And then I'm going to add some simple syrup. And that simple syrup has the mint, the nana right in it. So you guys can see what that looks like. And we just pour it out. Well, I'm going to pour it out and pay attention to what I'm doing because that feels important. So that is simple syrup and mint, okay? And then you just shake it really, really, really good. I'm like an actual cartoon character, you guys.
Sarah, Sarah.
Yes.
It seems not to be working for everyone, so I'm gonna we're just spotlighting your recipe cam so people can see up close. Will that be okay?
Yeah, whatever everyone wants. If they just want to see.
Dale, now it's working. You've got them both spotlit.
I got it to work.
All right, excellent, thank you.
So, and then we just serve this over ice. Now, one thing you can do like a margarita, throw this in a blender and have an actual like, I don't know, like a daiquiri style, which is a lot more like the Israeli limonada of my youth, which were always blended on the beach. So, and this, I'm going to strain out. And then the magic of mint. Cheers. L'chaim. L'chaim, ladies. Oh my God, that's so good. Correct? Okay. Now, the last step is if you want it sparkling. Sparkling is the best way. So you take the cocktail that we just made, that Erica has on the recipe can, and then you take legitimately like the cheapest, something just happened. I'm viewing someone named Natalie Lissak's screen.
I don't know why that came on.
Yeah.
Natalie.
Sarah, I think you just need to keep going regardless of how this moves around, because even if you're small on our, now it's perfect. We can see you again. It's back again.
So then the last step, if you want it this way, is to take just lemon seltzer water. So just like every New York Jew has seltzer in their fridge, as I'm sure like many of you do as well, we're going to just pour some seltzer on top and make it bubble. And that makes it so fun and so bright.
How much simple syrup?
1 to 2 ounces. If you want it extra minty, what I like to do is take a little bit of the mint from the simple syrup, like just the mint. So you guys see that? And I just put it right in the cocktail, so it gives you even more mint. And that's the best way to do it. But yeah, it's one, and the recipe you guys should have. I'm going to send updated recipes just to make sure that you guys have everything you need. And we'll make sure that those go out tomorrow, or tomorrow, so everyone has what you need. And it's so good with the salsa, right? All right. Feel like we accomplished a lot there. All right, we can. Do you want to like hydrate? Are there any other questions?
Would lemon seltzer make the drink too lemon?
No, because lemon seltzer is such like, imagine like, do you guys drink LaCroix? Like, I feel like it's that really
Subtle.
yeah, like light lemon. You could even just use like soda water and still get the bubbles without it being too lemony. I wish that you guys could taste this. Like it doesn't taste like there's any alcohol in it. It just tastes like the brightest, mintiest lemonade, and it's so delicious. And the key is to make it ice cold. Yeah, we're gonna cut the recipe cam for a minute, and I'm just gonna chat with you guys. So, hey, look, it's me. So the next thing that we're gonna make are the kofta meatballs. Did somebody else ask a question? They just saw that. Because we don't have enough time on Zoom to make that recipe, so I'm gonna tell you about it, and then I'll send it out after the fact, and you guys can ask me questions about how to make it one-on-one. So, here we go. So the first thing we're gonna do is make the meatballs. So kofta. Kofta is, I kind of want to give you a history lesson before we start because I'm a teacher and that's what I do, but I'll try and do everything at the same time. I definitely need gloves. You would think as much as I deal with food, I would be better about touching raw meat, but it just freaks me out. My husband just gets right in there. Like he's like so Italian. He just like digs into the meat. So gross. Okay, so with the kofta, so the best tasting kofta is half beef, half lamb. But I only had 2-pound packages of beef, and 2-pound packages of lamb, and I wasn't gonna make 4 pounds of kofta because that would last me like a year. So we're using all beef in my house, but if you have like ground lamb, it is the fat content in ground lamb and the flavor of the lamb is just unbelievable. You'll never go back. It's the best. So the first thing we're gonna do is we've got all of our ground meat here. Let's go ahead with the recipe cam. All right, so we've got all of our ground beef here. All right, and then we're gonna add to that, you probably didn't need such a big bowl because I'm adding it to the metal bowl. This is a chopped sweet onion. Now, one of the things that my husband does, and I think it's genius, is when I ask him to make kofta, like for dinner for the kids or whatever, he takes the onions, whoop, and the parsley. He just grabs like fistfuls of parsley from the garden and he puts them in a food processor and just like whips them, because it doesn't matter what size or shape the onions and parsley are in because they're all going in the meat. So I didn't want to run the food processor if I didn't have to, and I'm gonna have to run it for the tahina sauce. So I bought the pre-chopped cups of parsley, which you can see here, and I'm just adding 2 of these little like 10-gram parsley cups. You need 2 of them if you buy the pre-chopped parsley. If you're chopping parsley at home and you're adding it to the onion in the food processor, you want to use like about a cup of like loose parsley leaves, and that'll get you the right flavor amount.
We're using 1 sweet onion, so specifically a sweet onion. So
like, no, that's fine. I used a Vidalia onion because I think the flavor is really nice, but that's like such an American thing. But isn't that how like Jewish food works, right? Like we bring in all of the things. So whatever onion is like available that you like the way it tastes, that's what you're gonna add in here. All right, so we've mixed together the meat and the onions and the parsley, and I'm actually gonna take these off because I'm gonna add spices and I'll use a different set of gloves when I have to mush that together. So, cumin is for the tahina. All right. So the 2 most important spices. Okay, you guys are in Southern California, which means you have Vaughn's and Ralph's, right? Or does Vaughn's not exist anymore? I don't know. These are the both. Okay, so this is Private Selection, which is Kroger, who owns
oh hell, I don't know. You want to find Ethiopian Berber spices. You
Right.
should be able to.
They own Ralph's.
Kroger's is Ralph's.
Yeah.
And food for less.
My mom lives in Vegas, but grew up in like West LA. So I'm still learning about living in the Midwest. So African inspired Berber blend is what Ethiopian, it's like an Ethiopian blend of spices that you would find if you went for Ethiopian food and you were eating with like the injera, the bread. And then this is za'atar. Za'atar is an Israeli like blend of different spices with sesame and sumac and all kinds of different things in it. So what you're gonna add, okay, listen, I'm gonna be really honest. I am not the best about measuring spices. So you want, I'm gonna try here. I'm gonna eyeball it. Dear God, we're gonna try. All right, so I said in the recipe, a tablespoon of za'atar. No, you probably need closer to 2. There, that was okay. All right, see, this is why I need to send an updated recipe, because when I wrote all this out, I was thinking, God, I haven't measured a spice in years. So the za'atar, 2 tablespoons. You have to help me remember that for when I update this. Okay, Berber spices, my recipe calls for 1 teaspoon, and that should be enough because they're pretty strong. Okay, so a little bit. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. I need to invent smell-o-vision, seriously. All right, so I did 1.5 teaspoons because that looks out more like what my usual is. The tiniest amount, like this is a 1/4 teaspoon here. I'm probably gonna only use half of it, of smoked paprika. And the reason why is the smoky flavor helps if you are not using the grill, because it gives you sort of that flavor profile where, because we're baking these in the oven, where if you were to grill this, you probably wouldn't need to add any smoked paprika because you're going to get that wonderful like grill flavor that makes a big difference. All right, so we've done the za'atar, the Berber, and the smoked paprika. And then we're going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I've never measured salt and pepper in my life. I don't even know, like, that looks good. Sorry, I'm gonna figure it out. You know what my booby used to say? My booby used to say, why would you measure that? You can feel it in your kishka. Did anybody else's grandparents or parents say that? She always told me you could feel it in your kishka. All right, so always better to go light on the salt and let people salt it afterwards. And then I'm gonna put gloves on. We're gonna mush it all together. And we're gonna make meatballs out of it. This is it, it's super easy. We'll make a tray of the meatballs and we're gonna put them in the oven, and we will do, I'm so sorry, you guys, I forgot to preheat the oven because of course I did. So I like to roast them at about 375. It usually takes, depending on the size of the meatball, 15 to 20 minutes. Are you guys all still with me? Are we good? All right, great. I'm loving this. Thank you. This is my favorite thing in the world to do. Oh my gosh. Don't put gloves on in the summertime in Ohio. You might never get them off again. They're just glued to your hands. All right, so we're gonna mix it and get it in there and get all kinds of good, delicious flavors mixed together.
Me too, Natalie.
What did Natalie say?
She's hungry.
Oh, sorry. It's a cooking demo. You should be cooking along with me so you can have kufta for dinner. All right. Beautiful women are here with me. Okay, amazing. So I feel like I did a pretty good job of getting all this meat and onion and everything together. And now we're just gonna make meatballs. Nothing special. Like I said, I'm not great about measuring things. Please forgive me. I never said I was a chef. I'm a food historian. So now as I make meatballs, I want to tell you a little bit about what kufta is. So kufta is an Arabic word, and it is a meatball. It really is. Now, there's a difference between kebab and kufta. So if you're ever in, the first time I ever had kebab, like real kebab, was in the Muslim quarter in the old city of Jerusalem. And it was this like little tiny cafe. I probably wouldn't have gone into it if I didn't have a friend with me that knew her way around Jerusalem and was like, yeah, this is a good place to stop. Like I wouldn't have stopped. But there's like a grill right outside the front door of this little cafe. You can smell the meat like walking down the street. It's so delicious. And we went in to have lunch, and he asked if we wanted the kebab from the grill. And I was like, what? I don't know what this is. And it was like the best thing I had ever tasted. It was just this amazing mixture of beef and lamb and all these beautiful spices. Now their kofta doesn't have Berber spices in it because it's like Palestinian kofta. So it has a very specific sort of flavor profile that's much more Arab. And the joy of Israel is that as we grow in multi-ethnic citizens, we also grow in multi-ethnic cuisine. And one of the women that I played rugby with in Jerusalem was Ethiopian. And she taught me how to make her family's version of kufta, which involved this bear spice. Now that was hands down the best thing I had ever eaten. It was amazing. And it's these little meatballs. And you guys, if you're doing an appetizer for like a large group of people, you want to make really small meatballs. And it's important that you chop your onions much smaller than I did. If you're making regular meatballs to like put in a pizza or something like that, you can do it like this and make a ball. You can also make a kebab, like a little torpedo, which is also really common that you'll find in restaurants in Jerusalem. And that looks like this. But really that's too much meat and you want to go smaller if you're doing the meatballs for an hors d'oeuvre. And the more finely chopped your onions are, the more tighter and smaller you can make your meatballs. So you guys can see on the recipe cam that I've got big chunks of onion. We're onion fans in our family, which helps. And then as it roasts, all that beautiful like roasted onion flavor comes out. It is not a subtle dish. Have any other questions come in? No. All right. So kofta bistimiya is like, it's this is it. And you're basically just making it, you're not putting it on a grill, you're roasting it in the oven. And it has this history that comes from every part of Southwest Asia. So you're gonna see recipes that come from Lebanon, Syria, Turkey. In Israel, we have these amazing Jews that were expelled from all these countries, and they bring their spices and their identity together in Israel to make this joyful cuisine that brings these bursts of flavor into our mouths, and they make a mark on our souls. And I say that as someone who lived in Israel and feels very passionate about lifting up this multi-ethnic cuisine that is what Israeli food is. Our sabras, the people that have lived in Israel for generations upon generations, they add in the spices that come from Israel directly, the za'atar, the sesame and the sumac, and all of these amazing herbs that grow. And people that come from Persia, the Jews of Persia that came to Israel, they added cilantro and they added chives, and you could do chives instead of onions, or if you like it extra oniony, you can add, chives and onions together. Like the herbs that we see in these beautiful Persian rice dishes can be made into kofta. So it's never just one recipe, okay? I'm making something that we make in our house, my kids love. By kids, I mean all of them. Do you love this? Okay. And my toddlers as well. So not just Erica, who has a strong voice in what we eat in our house. That's true. And we make these beautiful little pastas. So remember, with ground meat, it's gonna shrink when you cook it. So this was 2 pounds of beef, 1 onion, half a cup of chopped parsley, and we made 8, 12, and 6. We made 18, so 1.5 dozen meatballs. Now, this should make 36 hors d'oeuvre size meatballs. These are double the size of what you need because this is our dinner. Like Erica and I are going to go home and eat this. So, these are like dinner size. But you want to make smaller meatballs if you're doing hors d'oeuvres. You want something that people can poke at with like a toothpick, right? And then like dip it in the tahina and pop it in their mouth to make small meatballs. That's another reason why you should use the sort of like pureed or food processor onions, because they're so much more finely chopped than this, and you're going to get a much smoother and smaller meatball. So, is that ready to go? Maybe, maybe not.
It's still on TV, but like.
I so let's go ahead and turn the recipe camera off, and let's go ahead and put all of the cocktail stuff over there. Amazing. All right, so we're just gonna tidy up a bit, and then we're gonna get the I need the lemon juice. I just realized that. And then we're gonna put the meatballs in the oven, and we're gonna make the tahina sauce. I need the cumin and the salt. Just preheat. So our oven's preheated. We're gonna get this in the oven. Wait. Oh. Remind me to have Rob fix the handle on the oven door. Yeah. Hi guys, is everybody with me? Are you doing all right? Barbara, I see you nodding. That makes me happy. Everybody else has walked away. No, I'm kidding. I'm really happy you all are here. Please, please, please keep chatting at me and asking me questions as we go. We're going to move on to the tahina sauce. Okay. So tahina, sesame, right? Sesame is the lifeblood of all things Israeli. Whether it's sweet or savory, salty or halva, yum. Either way, you're gonna see sesame as like the root of everything. And it really is an incredible seed. It has everything you could need. Like it's just really marvelous. So for the tahina, let's say English. I need 2. All right. So the tahina is a really interesting flavor profile. All right. If you have the recipe pulled up that I sent, the recipe graphic, there is a mistake in the tahina sauce. You do not need onions for tahina sauce at all. And for some reason, I put 1 sweet onion under the ingredients for tahina. I'm so sorry. You don't need that. What you do need is 1 entire head of garlic. Okay, 1 whole head of garlic, peeled. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted to do. That's fine. Okay, and the juice of 4 lemons. So I need 3/4 of a cup, which is, there it is. All right. So 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice and a head of garlic. Now, the way that we make this tocino sauce, where it's not like so garlic heavy, and the key here is that you need to take the garlic and the lemon juice, and you need to like whip them together before you add anything else. So this one I am going to turn on with you guys because I didn't want to make it ahead of time. Please forgive me. It only needs a minute. Oh, this is not good. Should be good. It's not. Yeah. No, it's missing a piece. Maybe I just reset this.
I don't think it's plugged in.
No, it is. I swear it is. Let's try that one more time. Hold that. What the hell? Oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm so sorry, all of you, for dealing with this. It's okay. Just forget it. This is the joy of my kitchen. You can put that down. Thank you. It's a podcast here. There's a piece that's missing. But it's still not gonna let it. I think it's broken. I really genuinely do. Yeah, try it. Which one? Puree. Yeah, no, it's not working. That's fine. We're gonna use the immersion blender. It's totally okay.
Yeah, so we are going to use an immersion blender. Someone asked if they can use a blender.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm just looking for the bottom part of my immersion blender. My apologies for the mix up here. I don't know why my food processor isn't working, but it's not. And hopefully I can be. Okay. Okay. Down the meat, please put this over there. Sorry. All right, so if you have an immersion blender, this works just as well. It's actually marvelous for this. You're gonna basically, without oil, you're gonna emulsify together the lemon juice and the garlic. See, it won't.
It's not plugged in.
You got. I think you have to hold it. Got it? Ah, yay! All right, so I've added the garlic, and now I'm gonna add like half a teaspoon of salt, just to like sweat what's left of the garlic out and just give it a little bit of, oops, that's a technical term. And then you end up with this gorgeous, gorgeous, like lemon garlic liquid. All right. Okay. And the next step is to strain it. If you don't like chunky, use a bigger bowl. I don't care if I bite into chunks of garlic, so I'm not going to strain mine. But one thing that I do like to do is get like huge chunks of garlic out of there. So that's easy enough to do with just a slotted spoon. I just sort of bring it through. See, we've got some big chunks of garlic that didn't fully blend out. And that's all. Yeah. Nobody wants to bite into that if it hasn't been roasted, right? Ew. And that's it. So we've got that. All right. And then the next step is to add a little bit of cumin. It calls for like half a teaspoon, which is like so much more than enough. Like, I promise. I feel like cumin can overpower anything. All right. Okay, and the tahina. So I love Hadar tahina. You can get it at Ralph's. You should be able to also get it at Vaughn's. It should always be in the Israeli section or the like Jewish food section specifically. And basically, you're just gonna add like a huge cup. Now, when I learned how to cook some of this stuff in Israel, of course that just happened. When I learned how to cook this stuff in Israel, it was all by weight. So I remember this being 300 grams. Oh yeah. Just no. Yeah, is it gonna work? Yeah. It never works. See? I'm never listening to you again. Ever. It looked, but it didn't. All right. So as with most of our tahinas, you're going to see a lot of oil on top. So before you make your heaping cup, you're going to stir it a little to get all that paste and oil to sort of come together. And you want to try and get in here. So you can see what mine looks like. See the paste and the oil? So you just want to pull it together. And then the best way to do this is just like with a liquid measuring cup. And after you've stirred it, like really good, that is totally a technical culinary term, really good. So is smush, in case anyone was wondering. Totally technical and culinary. I pour out tahina until it falls over, okay? And then I just add a little more because who doesn't want a little bit more? So that is going to come together. Now, if you use dry tahina, it's gonna seize up and it's gonna be really hard and lumpy in a very short period of time. You can kind of see this happening. Now it takes longer with the good oily tahina. That's why I love this stuff. Now you can see it come together and start to get like clumpy and seizing once all the lemon juice and garlic incorporates into the actual tahina itself, okay? And then, so what I always tell people is when you get to this point, you just want to do a tablespoon of water at a time to get the consistency of a sauce that you love. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons because I know what this is supposed to look like, but you really do want to go slowly with the water because you don't want to add too much water or you'll get a weird sauce. Ooh, I can't believe that just happened. Can you look in the drawer right in front of you and tell me if there's a whisk in there? It might also be behind. Check the drawer. So I'm just gonna switch over to a whisk now from the spoon, and I'm gonna add another 2 tablespoons of water. What does it smell like? Erica thinks it smells like peanut butter. I don't know. I don't think sesame and peanuts smell the same, but a lot of people have said that. All right, look at this gorgeous sauce, you guys. This is just amazing. All right, so that's not quite as thin as I would like it. So I'm just gonna add 2 more tablespoons. So now we're at 6 tablespoons of water total. And you can see the color lightening when you add the water, and that's a good sign. It means it's bringing all of the flavors together. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. Absolutely, of course. Okay, so I like a little thicker sauce, I think. So I'm gonna probably leave it at this. And then the most important part. Taste test. Does it need salt? It doesn't need salt. Wow, that's a winner. I never use enough salt. So then the best part about making this into hors d'oeuvres is 300 grams. So about 10 ounces, maybe 9, somewhere between 9 and 10 ounces. Sorry, I'm so Canadian, I'm not good at ounces. I can think of it by weight because that's how I learned it in Israel too. Does that sound right? Okay. Well, we are going to check our meatballs. I got tahini on my face. That feels like a really excellent cooking lesson if I've got food all over my face. Oh my God, you guys, it smells so good. So these probably need 10 more minutes. So I want to make this the moment for Q&A with all of you. I'm going to drink my cocktail and I'm going to let you all come back to me. I'm going to even change my view so that I can see all of your beautiful faces. And I want to invite questions about my food history, my education, anything about food that you have questions about in terms of history and relationship between food and identity, especially Israeli food. I'm here for you guys and I'm at your disposal.
How did you get into this?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question, actually. So I wanted to be a history professor forever. And I went to school and I have a degree in Jewish philosophy. And then I went to work. I had a first marriage and I went to work at an insurance company. And it was one of those, I did everything that was sort of expected of me. And then one day I woke up, I was 29 and I hated my life, everything about it. And I literally quit my job that day and applied to go back to school. And I did 2 new bachelor's degrees, one in Russian Jewish history and one in general Jewish studies. And I thought, worst case scenario, I can become a day school teacher. I'm obviously not a day school teacher because I learned that lesson. And I went to I went to graduate school at University of Toronto to do my PhD in food history, like specifically because when I was doing my Russian Jewish history degree at Ohio State, I had the most incredible professor. Her name is Robin Judd. She's a specialist on Germany and the Nazis and the Jews and like circumcision laws. Was what like her first book was all about circumcision laws, which is a really particular field for Jewish historians and not super fun for like public consumption, but important nonetheless. And she introduced me to a professor that came to speak at Ohio State named Hazia Diner. Hazia is a Jewish historian in New York. She's absolutely a genius. And she wrote a book about food history in New York, like food and identity in New York. And she talked about the Irish Catholic families, the Italian families, and the Jews. And the Jews were a big part of it. I read her book. I got to speak with her. I got to have a meal with her. And it like changed. You ever had a meal that changed your life? Like that meal with Hazia Diner changed my life, because I went from wanting to study Russian Jewish history, Russian Jewish immigration, the migration patterns of Russian Jews, like that. I was all in that like immigration state. And then I met with Hazia and I went, this isn't enough for me. And I started to read more and more about food history and like what that looked like. And really food is the intergenerational like DNA of our identity in a way that nothing else is, because of the way we're able to not assimilate, but combine and marry together all of these identities in one dish. And I think that the kofta that I made today is really, really a big piece of that, because you go to Israel, 53% of the Israeli population is Mizrahi. They're from Israel, or they're from North Africa, or they're from Iran, or they're from Lebanon or Syria, or anywhere that you could imagine they could be from, and they're Jews, and they were expelled in the 1950s and 1960s, and they had to go somewhere, and that's why Israel is so important. Sorry to like toot my Zionist horn there, I apologize. So Israel brings together all these people. And then you have the Ashkenazim who are like founding the seed, and they come after the Holocaust. And you have all of these different people that are combining to make something really beautiful. And the kofta is a great example of that, right? Because the Ethiopian Jews came from Ethiopia. In fact, the anniversary of Operation Solomon was just like yesterday or the day before. So all these amazing Ethiopian Jews are coming. And what am I putting in my kofta? Ethiopian Berber spices. So like it's this wonderful thing. So I started at University of Toronto in the PhD program under the umbrella of something called the Culinaria Institute. So I was a history major. So like my PhD is in history, or my master's, because I left so my husband and I could have babies. But my master's is in history with a cooperative graduate diploma in Jewish studies. And my master's thesis was on Canadian Jewish food history and kitchen Judaism in between the First World War and the Second World War. So I really, like, I talked about everything from Maimonides to Jewish women's like auxiliary organizations that fed like Jewish people that were in the tuberculosis sanatorium outside Toronto. You know, no, you would never think that in 1929 that this organization that feeds the Jews in the sanatorium that are suffering from tuberculosis would be connected to Maimonides, but at the end of the day, they are, because Judaism is just that. In Egypt, in the year 1200, Maimonides published a book called On the Cause of Symptoms. It's not a Jewish philosophy book. It's a medical textbook. And in it, he talks about the broth. He has an entire chapter on the broth of hens and fowl. What do we do when we get sick? What's the first thing we do? We make chicken soup. That's Maimonides. That's from 1200. Like in Egypt, like he was the court physician for the I can't think of the word now. I'm so sorry, you guys. I also have a concussion, so my vocabulary isn't what it normally is. So I'm trying to remember all these words. Whatever the word for the Muslim leader of a caliphate is.
and I just forgot what it was. There's like a specific word for that. Anyways, it'll come to me. I'll remember eventually. So anyways, that's how we got here to this moment with all of you is that education and constantly doing food history lessons. Challah is one of my specialties. I can teach my challah class in Yiddish, Hebrew, and in English. I'm very proud of that.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, of course. Joanne, hi.
Hi, how are you? I just wonder, what spice did you put in the meat? Paprika and something else.
Yeah, there are 3 spices. 2 of them are spice blends. You can get them at Ralph's. They're Ethiopian, African, Berber spices. And then the Middle Eastern, like Israeli za'atar, which you should also be able to find, if not in the spice aisle, in the Jewish food section.
Za'atar. Okay.
Za'atar and Berber spices. A teeny bit of smoked paprika if you're making them in the oven to get that smokiness that you would normally get on the grill if you're grilling them. And then and then onion and parsley and salt and pepper. And you don't have to write all this down because you're going to get the recipe. We'll make sure to send it out and my email address too, in case you want to ask me questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, well, you mentioned challah. We had a WRJ program with Jake Cohen. Do you know who he is?
Yes.
Cookbook. He mentioned doing an 8-braid challah. Have you ever done an 8-braid challah?
Not the way he was talking about. I do 2 skinny strands, and then there's like 4 of those, and they're just sort of like lined up next to each other, and then I braid it like a 4 strand, and it looks real pretty. He is a genius, like seriously. His pasta recipes are incredible. Like but he's a chef, right? Like I'm a food historian.
You're a food historian, right?
Yeah, so my cooking demos are a lot about like where the food comes from and how it came together and why the spices worked out the way they did and that kind of stuff. His is like, here's how you make this, and that's it. He is absolutely a genius. He's far better at this than I am. He's really amazing. One of my best friends is a food blogger, and her blog is Jew Hungry, Jew, Jew Hungry, instead of you hungry, ? It's Jew Hungry. It was a cute pun. Whitney has an obsession with tahina that is like unbelievable. And her tahina she has tahina recipes that would blow your mind. So I definitely check out her blog if you're interested in more of the ideas around sesame, both sweet and savory versions. They're Any other questions? Go ahead, Lisa, you're muted. I see you want to ask a question. I can see it on your face. You're muted.
No, I was.
There we go.
The sesame is the what? The sesame is, that's the basis. Is it ground tahina?
Yeah, so tahina sesame is in Hebrew, and in Arabic, the word for sesame is tahina. So this is both made with tahina and is tahina because you use it for everything. So that's what this is.
And the one thing I learned from you is that you can get the smoked taste with smoked paprika.
In ground meat, like especially in beef.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it in everything, but...
Paprika used to be used in my house, my family house all the time, and I hardly hear about paprika anymore. Is there anything good about paprika? Like turmeric is good for you, but paprika is just a color and a seasoning?
That's a good question. Paprika comes from like a pepper plant, right? You get it from a pepper plant, but it's not sweet, or it's like from sweet peppers, not from hot peppers. I don't know if there's anything healthy about it for you. I'm not so sure about those turmeric stories either, though. I'm very skeptical. My mother calls me a cynic. But I think paprika is absolutely necessary in all forms and flavors of. Yes, Cynthia's right. It's very good for Ashkenazi food, and it's great for meat if you want to brown it. She's absolutely right. It gives such a beautiful color. Anytime you need a little bit of oomph to a dish, paprika is a great sort of like neutral flavor that gives it beautiful color and beautiful. It's just all beautiful, like the way paprika is used in recipes. Especially if you don't want to change the flavor of your hummus, but you want it to look beautiful, not smoked paprika, but just regular paprika. If you sprinkle it on top of the olive oil on top before you serve it, it doesn't change the flavor of the hummus, but the red and the hummus look gorgeous together. So that's a good way to do that. I like to add spice to my hummus. So instead of using paprika on top, I use harissa, which is a Persian spice that was brought to Israel from the Jews of Iran. And it's got a little kick to it, but the base for the spice blend for the harissa is paprika. I'm so sorry for stuttering for my words, everyone. I am less past my concussion symptoms
well,
at the end of the
we
day
have
is that I
really-
can't access all of.
Yeah, so all good things must come to an end. And I really appreciate your enthusiasm and your unique ways of putting things together. And you've given us a couple of new ways of doing things, I guess. I'm the cook that just throws spices into things. So I don't know if I'll ever measure anything anyway, but you know, I see you could do it both ways. So after such a great cooking demonstration, we're ready to try out new recipes and make dinner, I guess. And I want to bring is this it's all cooked now, right?
This is everything.
And now we're really getting hungry.
I really wish you had smell-o-vision. This smells so good.
Sarah, I want to thank you for making our installation special. I really appreciate having had this added bonus to our wonderful day. So thank you so much for coming to us from parts so far away that we could only do on Zoom. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Please keep doing all the amazing good work that you all do. No, Cynthia, that was not olive oil on top of the meatballs. That was just meat fat. You definitely want to use fatty meat on this. 85%, 90% is good to use. I just want to say thank you to all of you for the incredible effort that you put in to make the National Council of Jewish Women happen in Southern California. My dear friend Sheila Katz is your CEO, and I believe so deeply in the mission of the National Council for Jewish Women that it was honestly my joy and pleasure to join all of you for this installation. And the best of luck in the coming year for your board and everyone involved. May you continue to create a world that is better, tikkun olam, and filled with mitzvot, which I know you all do. Thank you for everything that you're able to do.
Thank you very much.
Amen.
And may this energy spread to enthuse our membership to take action. I'm excited about the potential of the new year, and I'm so glad everybody could join us tonight.
Thank you all.
And we'll see you at Lobby Day.